Welcome to this week's episode of Lagnia-pod. I'm your host, Rob Holbert. Everybody else who's here, let them know.
Ashley Trice.
Scott Johnson.
Brady Petrie.
Kyle Hemrick.
Tommy Hicks.
Everyone gathered around the rectangular round table for this week, and we're going to talk about a few things, but the most important thing going on right now in everyone's lives is the nappies.
Yes.
The nomination period is...
It's almost over, just mere days away.
The door is closing.
Yes, it ends on Sunday at midnight.
If you were waiting for your mom to nominate you, don't wait.
Yes. I mean, many people just take for granted that they are going to make it to the finals, but that is not the case. So make sure you're voting for yourself. Nominations, you can vote for anyone. It is open voting. So you can, as long as it makes sense, don't go vote for the best tire shop in the best plumber category. That's not going to work. But
I still love to tell this story. My favorite all-time complainer was a guy that called up and he was furious that he had not won some sort of musical award. He was certain that he was the most voted for person. And I managed to go back and look, which is a pain in the butt and it's hard to do, but I managed to go back and look. And he had exactly one vote.
yes.
I was like,
probably from himself.
Your mom didn't even vote for you, dude. Anyway, it was fun. But yeah, so I mean, you got to get folks out there. They don't even have to spell your name right because our highfalutin computers can figure that out.
AI is just another way.
Yes.
It's helping with voting and Reader's Choice Awards.
But it's not allowing AI to vote for you.
It is not allowing AI, but it is correcting misspellings. It sends us a message and says, does this person mean this? And then you say yes, and then it automatically will send that misspelling too.
So we'll also, just as we move into the finalist phase of this in the next few weeks, we will also go back and reissue the warning we did last year. Don't pay somebody to try to vote for you.
There are foreign actors. They're usually from where, like in Ukraine and
some countries that are going to be heavily tariffed right now. But yes, there's some countries.
But anyway, they will contact you on Facebook if you're a finalist and say, well, I helped all these people win last year.
Yes.
Our filter, just ask a few people who learn the hard way. The filter takes all of those out. So
it finds them.
Waste your money on that.
Yeah, it is capable of finding these people. So don't pay for people to vote.
We don't want you to lose your money. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it is. So that warning aside, we're getting there. It's exciting. We've had tons of votes, of course.
Yes, we've had hundreds of thousands of votes.
So it's going to be usual craziness, and we'll see y'all on the other side here pretty soon. But get them in. Last days are coming. Brady, this week you had a story, or late last week rather, you had a very interesting story about the wave, the bus, the buses, as I like to joke, that are hauling air across town all the time. That that you have some very interesting info about what we're paying for that, right? And I think it came as kind of a shocker to folks.
Yeah, I mean, it just, Wave has been in the news here recently. I mean, as workers, they're threatening to strike over, unsatisfactory conditions.
Not enough air in the buses.
Not enough air in the buses. Yeah, that's
not enough people riding the buses to keep them company.
Exactly, yes. But, just kind of got to thinking, well, how many people actually take this bus, and what are we paying for it as taxpayers? Right. And city paid for fiscal year 2025 $10 million. That's for operating expenses, pension funds.
Yes.
Most of it's operating expenses for the Wave. And I just asked for the ridership numbers, and it's a little over 557,000 people that took the bus.
557,000 rides.
Rides, right, correct. Yes, thank you.
Yes. That is not 557,000 people. There are 557,000 trips.
Correct, yes.
One-way trips.
Right. And the city, for whatever reason, said that they could not provide us with the revenue from fares that the bus...
Dale Leash, man. He can't get his job done.
He's joined the dark side and has just really caused some problems.
They need to put a boot in his butt. Anyway.
You know what? I'll let you take care of that one.
I'm just saying they do, not me.
Oh, they do. Oh, you. Okay, I got you. Yeah. But, so that just left us to do the math on our own, and assuming that you pay the regular $1.25 fare, it comes out to around $700,000. That what the city brought in terms of revenue. Now, assuming everybody took the round trip fare, which is $3, which I don't know why anybody
that was
would.
also a really interesting one. But the round trip fare is more than the combination of two one-way fares. Yes.
Right. So I can imagine not
so
a lot of people
you could pay an extra
taking
50 cents to get a round trip when you could just buy two one-ways.
Makes no sense. But
it didn't make any sense.
Assuming everybody takes the $3 fare, it still comes out to about $1.6 million, which is still significantly
I think all things given, we determined it probably is somewhere between the 850 to 900,000 range of actual money made from riders is right where we came down.
Right.
You know, and the city sort of said, yeah, that your numbers seem right, but we couldn't really get a firm number on that. That was
all I was told was that they couldn't tell me my math was wrong, but they also couldn't tell me it was right. Yeah, so I that was about all I got out of them. Anyway,
we're doing our best over here, folks. That's what we're trying to do.
But I mean, it basically just boils down to the fact that the city's not getting the most bang for its buck.
Regardless of anything, the city's spending $10 million a year on Wave. The Wave is bringing in no more than probably a million something
at most.
And so that's an interesting circumstance, but it really also the number, when you break down the ridership, when you break down the number of rides over 365 days, and probably most of those trips were a lot of trips you would assume are somebody going to work, coming back, or whatever. There's probably going to be two-way. You're not looking at a tremendous amount of people riding the Wave. I think even if you broke it down by 365, it was something like 1,300 or 1,500 a day.
1,500, yeah,
1,500 a day. And if those were all two-way rides,
that
then
even seems high to me.
Well, I mean, but those are rides per day. And then if you broke it down and said, okay, one person. Most people rode 2 trips, half that. Right. And then you're getting down into the hundreds of people a day.
Which even still sounds high.
It still sounds high. Right.
I was in between 2 buses the other day, and there was an area person on either one of them, on either side, other than the driver. The driver was there.
The driver was there. And I will say
there were 2 people in there.
There were at least 2
Brady,
people
I think
there.
you need to go ride around on one of these and see what's...
Take a nap.
Keep a tally.
How many people...
You probably get a good nap in there.
I'm down for it. But I will say personally, though, I drive down Airport Boulevard every morning when you would assume that people would be out ready to take the bus. Yeah. I pass by a lot of bus stops. I very rarely see people out there taking the bus. It may be one or two,
I know the Mogo has really, people who are using it for work has really stepped up to help there.
They have, and that's one. The cities. I think they're going to have a transportation committee meeting next week, and they're looking. That, like you said, Rob, this has kind of caught city officials by surprise. Yeah. I don't really see how. When you look at the Wave numbers,
it's one of those things probably people just didn't think about a lot more anymore. And especially given all this stuff that's going on, this friction lately, you would think maybe that somebody would have said, hey, what are we spending on that? But I get it. It's just been going on, and maybe it's just like, we don't have any other alternative at this point.
Yeah. So, it begs the question, is the city better off just, expanding MOGO, working with the chamber to expand MOGO, or a city official told me off the record, the city probably just be better off just paying for everybody to take an Uber.
Right. Because it's the way it works.
About someone a small car.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
It works out to the city paying basically $16 per ride.
Right.
So that is it's a pretty hefty amount. Like you said, you probably could hire an Uber for most people to do that and come out ahead, or at least not worse.
Right. Exactly.
Obviously, this is something where cities need public transportation. There needs to be something done. It's obviously probably going to be an issue for the next mayor. One that will be. We'll certainly be asking about this as we go forward with the mayoral race, and so it's a really interesting story.
And I think just to kind of put a lid on this, the interesting thing to me is, I spoke with Councilman Joel Daves, who's been very vocal about this in the past. He said, 10 years ago, he and a couple of other former city councilmen went up to Montgomery and Huntsville and Birmingham to see how they did things. And even 10 years ago, it was apparent that Mobile was lacking behind in terms of public transit, in terms of what they were paying and the ridership and everything. So this isn't a new issue at all.
Well, I also just want to point out, this is the kind of thing your local newspaper does to help save money. This is your Doge at work right here. But anyway, we're looking at these things. We're looking at how we do these things. So just when you're thinking about your local newspaper, this is the kind of stuff we do. The other stuff we do is talk to Tommy Hicks, which we're going to do right after this break.
Well, down in our Alabama town, Lagnia Daily is on the beat. For just $6.50, it's all the news, keeping local folks in the loop. Well, Lagnia Daily, every single morning, catching up on stories while the coffee's pouring. The local truths on every page, news for the folks of every age.
It's just $6.50 a month for Mobile's daily news, Lagniappe Daily. Get signed up now at lagniappemobile.com and help keep Mobile funky.
Whoa, down in our Alabama town, Lagnia Daily is on the beat. For just $6.50, it's all the news, keeping local folks in the loop. Oh, Lagnia Daily, every single morning, catching up on stories while the coffee's pouring. The local truths on every page, news for the folks of every age.
And we are back. We are right in the middle of the March Madness still. And are you? How's your madness going?
My madness is completely dead. Not completely dead.
Your brackets be busted?
I've racked a few buses. Yes.
Yeah.
I had Tennessee playing the title game, so that kind of hurt me.
That may have hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, that may have hurt. But I've got the other three teams in Duke, Auburn, and Florida. I've got Florida winning the national championship, so still got a shot there. But
yeah, I don't think you do because I do.
I'm not going to win. No, I'm not going to win our thing. I can still pick the national championship.
Okay, I was like, I don't think you do. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not going to win. I have no shot here in our, hypothetically bracket filling.
Right.
I picked Florida to win the whole thing, and that's a solid choice. But after actually watching it, I think I would change it to Duke. Would be my
Duke appears to have the most highly paid students out there. Yes,
and that's what I want. And next year, I'm picking just all the seeds,
all the number ones.
Yeah.
Just going number one.
Yeah. Well, this
hasn't happened in a while though.
Yeah.
Right. It has not.
Well, now, but with the money,
With the money
now.
Okay. The money.
There's some money.
As folks maybe who are listening to our podcast here to listen to Lagnia-pod may be curious how Kyle's team is doing since he went sort of like underdog central, and given there are nothing but number ones in the final four. How'd it go?
It didn't go quite as I planned, but when you put your money down, you got to be prepared to risk it.
That's right.
So this is just part of the game.
That roll of Canadian quarters.
That roll of Canadian quarters, which could be worth something if they become the next state.
Yeah. So I do have
some
could be legal tender soon.
Yeah,
maybe.
I do have some numbers if you'd like them.
Okay, let's hear some numbers.
So
God, not the numbers.
Just the top two. Rob is sitting in first place. He's gotten 92.7% of his picks correct.
And I'm not going to claim in any way, shape, or form that I know what I'm doing. I use ChatGPT to help me do this.
But I mean, 92%, that's very solid. I'm at 89.3 and Tommy's right behind me at 8.4. All the way down at the bottom of our office bracket challenge is Kyle Hamrick, who sits at 7.7%.
7% correct.
That's gotta be some sort of record.
I mean,
I think he just set a record.
You should win some sort of thing for that from
1,000%.
Worst picker ever.
That may be the worst bracket in the history of brackets.
Well, he lost two of his final four teams the first day. I mean, that's a problem.
Well, that would tend to make it unlikely you're going to win.
Yes,
it's madness.
Yeah, that is madness.
It's madness.
But I mean, if it had come through, you would have been looking good.
He'd been the talk of the country if it had come through.
Yeah,
but he's still the talk of the country, just not the way he had hoped he would be.
Well, we need to put that on the internet and let folks look at it.
We should
1,000%
up there on that World Wide Web and let people gawk at it.
Let's do that. Let's show the whole bracket.
This boy from Corner, Alabama, came up with some crazy stuff, man. It should be. Yeah. It should be a cautionary tale. No, okay. Now we're pushing it too far.
Yeah, now we're pushing it a little too far.
Now it's gone too far. Anyway, Tommy, so where are we this week? We've got Saturday is the two game, the semis, the final fours are playing each other. We've got Auburn
against Florida.
Auburn against Florida.
So you're going to have an SEC team in the national championship game. Just don't know which one. And then Houston against Duke. Houston looked really good. I mean, they all did. I mean, look what Auburn did with Broome hurt part of the game, and you didn't think he was going to come back. His health is going to be a really big key to how well they do against Florida, because Florida's got this 7'9" guy who doesn't use the ladder to cut the nets at the end of the tournament.
Right.
He just stands up and go, okay, here we go.
He gets on his tippy toes. Doesn't even get on his tippy toes. He does it flat-footed probably.
I hear there are plans for folks to go watch the Auburn-Florida game at the Floribama. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're right in.
You're right there.
Right in the middle.
That brawl should be interesting. That should be nice.
Maybe we could take a bus down together.
I just hope that the games are a little more exciting. The games this weekend were blowouts for the most part. They got a little dull. I need more excitement.
Well, I think you're going to get that.
If I'm starting to pay attention to basketball right here at the end, I need a little more excitement.
Well, I've said this before. This is my favorite week of the year because in the older days, thank you.
Tell us again,
baseball
Grandpa.
was just starting this week, right?
That's right.
So you get the Final Four, the championship weekend, you get the semifinals and the finals, you get the start of baseball, and then you lead right into the Masters.
That's right.
Oh, really good. Plus the NBA. Playoffs are starting. Everything's going on.
This year, you got torpedo bats. That's helping. That makes things exciting.
You got to have the torpedo bats.
The torpedo bats are involved.
I'm curious. What does Brady think about the torpedo bats?
He loves them.
Torpedo bats are great, but
he loves them. I knew he did.
Not helping the Braves any. That's all I'll say.
Not.
Are they using them?
They are now.
They are. Everybody got them now.
Everybody got
them now.
Major League Baseball just come out and say that they are suspending use of the torpedo bats?
That's news to me.
After the Yankees hit 15 home runs in the week or something like that.
Did you see that on April Fool's Day? Or
what now?
Was that an April Fool's Day?
Was that right next to the thing where Saban was coming back to coach?
Yes.
Saban's
coming back.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Or that you can rent the.
I think he's going to Viger.
Yeah, things were a little less. Things were a little less firm on the internet yesterday than usual. Even. Yes. There were a lot of things on the internet that were not true yesterday.
It could have been
not like today.
One or two.
Anyway,
we'll see.
We've got there's a lot going on, and Monday night will be the actual that'll be the championship game. So
it'll be a championship game.
All right.
Who do you have in the championship game?
I have Florida. Yes.
Against
I have them playing Duke,
and
I have Duke beating Florida.
Yes.
So I think our bracket's going to come down. to
that should come down to that
game.
Yeah. Unless both of us crap out, it could. I guess somebody could sneak in if anybody had.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's in third. So
anybody have Houston?
Nobody
had Houston.
I think somebody.
Dale did, didn't he?
Nobody had Auburn.
Didn't Dale have Houston?
Dale does have Houston. Yeah. So I mean, if Houston
still got a chance,
pulls it up,
he's got a chance. Then
we'll see.
All right. Well,
agree. Well, I haven't gotten his entry fee anyway. So yeah.
Well, this has been an exciting thing for people to listen to, I'm sure.
I'm sure they love this stuff, man.
Well, I know there's not a lot that's going on right now, so we're going to just call it quits, and we're going to come back and talk a little more about other things, political and otherwise, going on around town. We'll be right back.
Just $6.50 a month for Mobile's daily news, Lagniappe Daily. Get signed up now at lagniappemobile.com and help keep Mobile funky.
And we are back. So the cover story this week, Brady, you have the pleasure of writing another gigantic story on the cover this week.
And
Kyle.
and
It was a
me.
collab.
Kyle helped out. Sorry, both of you did. Both of you.
That's fine.
That's right. That's what both of you. Sorry about it. I didn't mean to leave you out.
All right, Brady. So how's the Bayway going, man?
We were talking about these two projects that seem to they seem to be taking forever to either get going or finish, and that's the Bayway project and the project at McGregor as well. So go, boys. What's going on with it?
I'll start with the McGregor project. It is going to be finished at some point.
Eventually.
We know that, which is more than we can say for the bridge in Bayway.
But that one will also be started at some point.
Well,
yes, I mean, we're assuming here that the world doesn't end today, but I mean,
that's true.
or anytime in the next 20 years.
Yeah. But I mean, the McGregor Avenue. I mean, people on Facebook, if you mention road work of any kind going on, one of the first comments
they
you'll
lose
see,
their minds. Yeah.
they lose their minds about McGregor Avenue.
I wish the most shocking thing that you wrote in there about it to me was that this thing's only 6 months behind schedule.
Yes.
That part seems kind of amazing,
right?
But you explained why.
Yeah, and the tentative date was, a 2-year schedule.
Right.
They broke ground in early May of 2023, and so we're coming up on 2 years next month, and they're now saying that it's going to be completed on December 31st.
Right.
Which, if you, depending on which side of the issue you
just
sit
in time
on,
for the moon pie to drop into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can travel back and forth to and from the moon pie drop. But one of the biggest issues that they encountered, that a lot of people I don't think know about, was there's a bridge that crosses over a creek right there, and it was
That's Lava Creek.
That's Lava Creek,
yeah.
right? And it was at the point of basically being structurally unfit. I mean, it was they were going to have to do something about that bridge regardless, and that is a huge part of this whole project. And they were going to have to shut down that section regardless, and that added more time to it. And another big thing is they had to get down basically all the way to the bedrock.
Yeah.
And, the whole stretch of it here. And there are about 7 or 8 utilities, I think, that are right there in that stretch of road, whether it's, electrical, water, whatever.
Phone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they had to go down and replace all that. It's a huge undertaking. And I mean, city
Clearly,
engineer,
it has been.
said that, hey, I get it, that, people are upset, but this is something that, if you didn't do something about it and work on this project, it was going to cause some serious issues.
The bridge collapses, then you really got problems.
Then you got people really upset.
Then they're
the bridge
very upset.
collapsed. Exactly.
All right. Speaking of bridges, where are we, Kyle?
We are currently on track. They say for a groundbreaking at the end of this year. So just
even after the
the breakup with Mobile Bayway Builders.
Yes.
And after the fact that the $550 million that we got from the U.S. Department of Transportation is not yet formally committed to the project,
Shamari figures Congressman does not believe that is going to get chopped from all the cuts
nor does
going on right now, right? So they think that money will be there.
They think that money will be there. That's part of their application for a 49% TIFIA loan.
Yeah.
To cover 49% of the project costs. They say that even with all this still being kind of up in the air, we're still on track to break ground at the end of this year.
So my math is funny on this. It's like we have less than $1 billion. The project is $3.5 billion.
And that's not even the final figure.
And we're going to try to get a loan for 49%.
Right.
That doesn't make 100.
Yeah, that doesn't quite get us there.
Where's the rest coming from? Elon Musk.
Well, it's going to be tolled too. That's still in the equation too. Is we're going to have to pay tolls,
right?
To use
but that's
this
the payback on it. But that's not paying up front. So So we still don't know at this point. Nobody really knows where all the funding's coming from.
That's what I asked Figures too. Was are there some other grant opportunities out here for this at the federal level? And he's like, with all that's going on with Doge and the Trump cuts, they're not sure what's even still out there that ALDOT could take advantage of to get some more money for the project.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, let's see where it goes. It's obviously everybody's waiting for this to happen, and
20 years in the making.
That would have been a great April Fool's yesterday to say that the bridge is opened or that it's
starting now.
They started today.
Dirt flying in the air now.
There was a lot of stuff on.
If ALDOT posted it, that would be
a good
people would be so upset.
That would be a good one though. That would be a good way to just
turn the comments off on
to irritate the public more. So yesterday being April Fool's Day, there was a lot of stuff on the web, and I was kind of amazed at some of the things people believed. There just seemed like we saw. I think probably everybody saw the ones where like Nick Saban is coming back to coach. You know, what were some of the dumb ones y'all saw yesterday?
One of them that actually almost got me, and it's Atlanta Braves related, but it was that they fired their pitching coach and they're hiring the Tennessee head coach, as Tennessee's the number one team in the country. And I sat there for a second before I read the fake article, and I was like, this might actually be true.
Well, that was really deep, though. You'd have to really have some knowledge to even really know what they're talking about.
Right. I think another fun one was just seeing all the colleges and sports teams like teasing new fields and new logos.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was one school that said that they're coloring their football field maroon or something. I think it was Louisiana Monroe. That was pretty fun to see.
People fired up.
Gulf Shores High School put out a thing saying that they're going to build a monorail to connect the athletic complex to the high school. Of course, that caused to buy the classic Simpsons gag.
Right, yeah.
Monorail. Next stop, monorail. So that could be happening.
Came off my pudding can. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I almost fell for this one. I'm a big fan of the Kerrygold butter. It's very delicious.
Kerrygold butter.
Yes, they put out that they were introducing a body butter, and I was like, oh, yes, that'll be and I went, oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Yes.
Today, the other one that was good was, oh, go ahead, Scott. What do you have?
Oh, okay. This actually happened to me. I didn't get pranked, but I was in Publix picking up like some donuts to prank my kids. And, open up the donut box, and it's veggies.
And it's just vegetables.
Yeah, it is. Wow. And so I'm like, I was like, so I asked for like paper bags because I want to hide the donuts or whatever. And they kind of look at me sideways, and I was like, it's an April Fool's joke. And then the bag man. Is it bag boy, bag man? I don't know. The guy that was bagging my groceries.
Bag man's the guy that keeps the money.
He's like, man,
Bag boy, put your groceries in. Bag man has your money. That's different people entirely.
I was like, what Publix are you going to?
Yeah, I was like, there's a bag man at Publix.
Anyway, the guy bagging my groceries said, I forgot it was April Fool's Day. I was gonna prank my girlfriend and tell her I was breaking up with her. And I was like, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
That was awful. I was just like, that was so dumb.
That's a bad move on the bagman's part. The other one that was weird was, I guess people are saying that the Battleship was going to become an Airbnb, right?
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Graphic designer actually fell for that one.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, I've always wanted to stay on that.
Yeah, I want to stay on the graphic designer. Yeah,
God, that'd be
good,
so hot to stay in there. It'd be miserable.
We had, when I was the editor of the...
it's air conditioned, and I know this because when
it is air conditioned.
My Girl Scout troop went down there to sleep on it when I was in 4th grade, but we did not get to because it caught on, the air conditioning system caught on fire.
Trouble.
So, yeah.
When I was in college and I was the editor of the Spring Hill College newspaper, the Spring Hillian, we had one that was supposed to come out on April 1st, so we did the Spring Hooligan, which was just made up stuff, mostly libelous. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, we always think about, wouldn't that be fun to do here? But then, you kind of run into this whole thing of putting it out there and everybody then believes it. And then you have to spend a lot of time reeling it back in.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we are full into April. Spring is here, and thank God I'm ready for it. So that'll be it for this week, folks. Thanks for listening to Lagnia-pod. We will be back next Thursday.
Bye.
Have a great day.
The Lagnia-pod is a Something Extra publishing production. Executive producers are Rob Holbert and Ashley Trice. Music is by Some Pulse Sounds and Electro Animals. Only subscribers like you have access to this podcast. Tell your friends they can sign up at my.lagniapmobile.com. For advertising opportunities, please call 251-450-4466.